Hey everybody, I'm going to continue our discussion on the demographic transition model. So you have seen this chart. There are 4 stages in the demographic transition model and then a 5th unofficial stage. So the demographic transition model, again, it's used to explain and predict population growth. And this model will basically serve as the basis for this class, and we'll discuss population, development, healthcare, industry, standard of living, the Human Growth Index, the GII, the Gender Inequality Index. And again, this is based on the assumption that countries will go through all 4 stages. So it measures the crude birth rates, crude death rates, and population growth, that natural increase rate or rate of natural increase. Crude death rates change due to the medical revolution. So again, death rates will drop when medical advancements improve, vaccinations are prevalent, and they're accessible, and sanitation is good. Our crude birth rates has to change based on social attitudes. So again, as women's rights change, we will see advancements, or not necessarily advancements, but we'll see drops in crude birth rate, along with the shift in job types. One major problem with the demographic transition model is that it is based on Western Europe, and some countries are different, like China. Most of their changes in terms of population was due to the government interference. They promoted antenatal policy, such as the one-child policy that limited the number of children that couples could have. So again, looking at the demographic, the actual model, so we have 4 stages and a 5th unofficial stage. In our first stage, we're going to see, for our natural increase rate, we're going to see low growth. And the reason for this is that we have high birth rates, high death rates, and they essentially cancel each other out, and we'll see low growth. In stage 2, we'll see high birth rates, but we're going to see death rates drastically drop, so we're going to see high growth in their population. For stage 3, we'll see birth rates beginning to fall. Death rates won't drop the same way that they did in stage 2, but they'll continue to decline, and we'll see moderate growth. In the 4th stage, we'll see low birth rates, low death rates, and low growth. So if we look at the 4 stages, 1 and 4 have low growth. However, high birth and death rates in stage 1 and low birth and death rates in stage 4. And then in stage 5, we may see growth rates dropping to negative. So we're really going to see populations decline. So our first stage is stage 1, and there are no countries in stage 1 of demographic transition model. There are a few hunting and gathering societies that still exist. They would be in stage 1, but not the country itself. So again, hunting and gathering societies is pre-industrial societies. We'll see high birth rates, high death rates, low growth, so low natural increase or rate of natural increase. So some of the things that may attribute to the higher death rates, natural events such as droughts, disease, because remember, medical care will be very limited, and an unstable food source. All right. So that's stage 1, and as I said, there are no countries in stage 1. Stage 2 is where we're going to see our highest growth. And in our next module, we'll look at population pyramids. So you can see what a stage 2 country would look like. But in this stage, we're going to see rapidly declining. So our death rates will drop from stage 1. And the reason is because improvements in food supply. So we're really going to see that shift from subsistence farming to more reliable food, or hunting and gathering, I should say, to a reliable food source, improvements in sanitation, and a medical revolution that's going to reduce diseases, help for people, attribute to people living a little bit longer, and death rates dropping. We'll still see high birth rates as some places are still engaged in agricultural societies, so they're doing more subsistence farming. And so you'll see high birth rates for a couple reasons. One, since they are agriculturally based societies, they typically need children to help, so you will see larger families. And the other part to that, there's a couple parts. So the job types that they're in. The second part, most women would not have as many rights as you'd see in a country in stage 4. So they don't have the kind of access to education, medical care, working outside the home, and access to contraceptives. So we're still going to see higher birth rates. So we see a very large rate of natural increase. As I said, death rates drop, birth rates remain high, natural increase rate expands. So this is where we see the largest growth. And again, as I said, they're agriculturally based societies. They're very basic farming, limited to no technology in terms of the machinery that you'll see as a country develops more commercialized farming. And then there's a more stable food source. Most African countries, or our sub-Saharan African countries, are in stage 2. If you would like to look at some of the demographics, I have a link to the CIA World Factbook, so you can actually look at some of the numbers of Niger. So moving on, and as I said, this is a population pyramid, so if you can see, they have a wide base because they have high growth. All right, moving on to our stage. Oh, I forgot. We have our chart. So again, if we look at the birth rates are high in stage 1, death rates are high, and again, we're going to see that natural increase. It's going to be low. In a stage 2, birth rates still remain high, death rates drop. So again, we're going to see that natural increase rate really changing right here. Our stage 3 is moderate growth. So this is where we're going to start to see an industrialized society. There's going to be that shift from the primary sector to manufacturing. So they're going to our secondary sector. All right. Population will continue to increase. All right. But the growth will start to decline. And the reason for this, birth rates will start to drop. Our death rates will continue to decline, and our rate of natural increase will continue to drop. The total fertility rate will start to go down as birth rates will decline. All right. And we'll see some, population growth. All right. Moderate population growth. In countries in stage 2 and 3, you may see antenatal policies in which governments want to reduce their population, so they will encourage people to have less children. The most famous is China with the one-child policy. India has had policies. Egypt has had policies. Singapore had antenatal policies that were so successful that they had to start pronatal policies where they encouraged people to have children. So some of the factors, social choice, we'll start to see rights, more opportunities for women. So women's rights will start to increase. And again, the more developed a country is, the better it is for women in terms of women's rights and opportunities. There's more access to education. We're going to start to see urbanization, which again will lead to lower birth rates. And increased in technology and medical advancements will be why we see death rates continuing to drop. And most of our Latin American countries and some of our South and Southeast Asia countries are in stage 3. Again, I have provided a link to the World CIA Factbook if you want to go look at some of the demographics for Mexico. So if we're in stage 3, we're going to still see the population increasing. Birth rates, as you can see, will decline. Our natural increase rate is starting to decline a little bit, so it will be moderate growth. And then our death rates will continue to drop. Stage 4 is where we see low growth, all right? So this is where the country is fully developed. So these are our MDCs, or more developed countries. They have tertiary and service-based jobs. All right. At this point in time, we see our birth rates and our death rates kind of in an equilibrium, meaning that they are essentially at the same level. so even growth. Our natural increase rate is low, and in some cases, they may have reached zero population growth, so ZPG. Our total fertility rate is lower than 2.1. Some of the factors is that in stage 4 countries, people just have greater control over their fertility in terms of access to contraceptives. Contraceptives are used to prevent unplanned pregnancies. And to the other factor with this, even in our stage 4 countries, if we think about women with rights, more rights and opportunities, women can postpone having children because they have greater control over their fertility, meaning they can freeze their eggs and then wait till they're a little bit older to decide to have children. We also are going to see a lower crude birth rate. So we'll see more double income, no kids, and then single income, no kids. In these countries, or in these cases, in countries that are stage 4 and stage 5, we may see pronatal policies where countries are trying to encourage people to have children. So they may give tax breaks, longer maternity leave, daycare, discounts on daycare. Most of our countries in Western Europe and the United States are in stage 4. And I provided a link so you could look at the United States demographic factors. And our last and unofficial, I guess I forgot this part, sorry. Birth rates continue to drop. Death rates will be lower. And if we can see, in some cases, they are canceling each other out. So we're going to see that low growth, maybe even to no growth at all, so zero population growth. And our last unofficial stage is stage 5. This is our theoretic stage and could be declining. Our best examples, some countries in Western Europe, but definitely Japan and Germany. So our CBR is very low and it may fall below death rates. Our crude death rate's very low and it could increase with an aging population. And some of the reasons, again, greater control over their fertility, tertiary societies, and access to medical care. Now keep in mind there will be some issues with this as we have an aging population. Socially, you may have graying power, so elderly have more rights, or not rights, but more political power. And then also workforce, that may be a problem in terms of a declining workforce. All right, so here, if you can see, these are the population pyramids as they relate to the demographic transition model. And then, if you can see, I've given you some numbers. So stop and pause and think about what the birth rates and death rates would be. And I put that formula there. All right, now I'm going to show you the death rates. So again, you see are the demographic transition stage. We have 3, 1, 5, because the death rates are higher, 2, and 4. Again, do the same thing. Pause and see if you can determine the stage of demographic transition. And again, were you correct? Stage 4 for country A, stage 1, stage 5, 2, and 3. And that's it. That's where we're going to stop. I'll pick up in the next module over population pyramids. Thanks.